Welcome, my beautiful people, to another episode of Dino Basics, where we dig up the basics on some of our favorite deceased beasts. My name is Logan, and today we'll be looking at another comment-suggested dinosaur. Thank you to Anthony Bush 4407 for today's topic, Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus was first discovered in 1920 in modern-day Canada, specifically the province of Alberta along Red Deer River. The original fossil was recovered by a field team from the University of Toronto. This original fossil consisted of a skull and a partial skeleton, missing much of its legs and its tail. This original fossil would be identified by paleontologist William Parkes, who named this new genus and species Parasaurolophus walkeri. Parasaurolophus stems from the Greek words para for besides or near, saurus for lizard, and lophus for crest, translating to near-crested lizard. That translation might seem strange, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Walkeri was meant to honor Sir Byron Edmund Walker, a successful Canadian businessman and Royal Ontario Museum board member, who donated many of the fossils to that same museum. This original fossil being discovered in Canada is actually somewhat unusual, as only a handful of other Parasaurolophus specimens have been recovered in the country. Most fossils come from the modern-day United States, specifically the states of New Mexico and Montana. While Parasaurolophus walkeri would be the type specimen for the genus, two other species have been identified and recognized. Parasaurolophus tubicens was identified in 1931 after being recovered by Charles Sternberg and analyzed by Carl Wieman. The name roughly translates to trumpeter, obviously in reference to the trumpet-like crest on its head. This species largely differs from walkeri and its crest, with the internal structure of tubicens crest being significantly more complex than that of walkeri's. The other species was named Parasaurolophus cyrtocrestatus by John Ostrom in 1961. Cyrtocrestatus stems from the Latin words curtus, foreshortened, and crestatus, for crest, in reference to the shorter crest compared to other species of Parasaurolophus. This species was by far the smallest of the three, and had a more curved crest, which has led some scientists to believe that this species was instead a female of walkeri or tubicens. As of now though, Cyrtocrestatus is still recognized as an independent species of Parasaurolophus. Returning to our previous point, the translation of near-crested lizard is better read as near Saurolophus, as the name references another dinosaur named Saurolophus. Saurolophus was a type of dinosaur named a hadrosaur, and believed to be an important early reference for the family, so the name Parasaurolophus references the belief that the two were close or near relatives. However, over time this belief was debunked, as while they are still both recognized as hadrosaurs, Parasaurolophus is recognized as a member of a separate subfamily known as the Lambeosaurinae. We previously touched on Lambeosaurinae in our video on Cretaceous, but Lambeosaurinae are distinct from other hadrosaurs for their recognizable hollow crests. The use of these crests has been debated for some time, but most paleontologists believe that these crests were used for vocalizations. Due to varying sizes between species and a lack of complete skeletons for reference, estimating the exact size for Parasaurolophus as a whole is a bit difficult. For simplicity, we'll focus on walkeri as the type specimen. If you are curious, tubicens is very comparable in size, and Cyrtocrestatus was estimated to be about 70% of the size of walkeri. A 2022 study indicated that Parasaurolophus could reach almost 39 feet in length and almost 6 feet tall. It weighed almost 9 tons, weighing about as much as an African bush elephant. Like other hadrosaurs, Parasaurolophus was capable of walking on all 4 limbs as well as only on their back 2 limbs. Parasaurolophus would have most likely foraged for food on all 4s and been able to rely on their hind limbs when running, reaching speeds of almost 25 miles per hour. Its skull was very large, with the skull ranging between 5 feet and 6.5 feet, depending on the species. This crest would begin at the rear of the skull and protrude backwards. It was hollow, with tubes leading from either nostril to the back of the crest and then reversing back down towards the skull. The existence of these tubes have led to the well-accepted theory that this crest aided in communication between individuals. These hollow tubes were similar to that of a trombone, allowing sound to bounce around and produce a low-frequency bass tone. These tones could then be used to communicate with other herd members, like appealing to a potential mate or sending out a warning of danger. Other generally accepted theories suggest that these crests could be used to identify sex, as males would have longer and less rounded crests than females, as well as serve a thermoregulative purpose. Parasaurolophus was an herbivore, with hundreds of teeth inside its fairly narrow beak. These teeth allowed them to chew on leaves, twigs, and other tough vegetation. Parasaurolophus lived during the late Cretaceous, between 80 and 70 million years ago. It would have lived throughout the western United States and in parts of Canada. The lack of fossils in Canada and abundance in the United States seem to suggest that Parasaurolophus would only migrate through areas like Alberta, while mostly residing in areas like Utah and New Mexico. Assuming this to be the case, Parasaurolophus still likely would have lived alongside familiar dino-basic herbivores like the Styracosaurus and the Cretaceous, as well as dangerous carnivores like the Gorgosaurus and Daspletosaurus. Parasaurolophus is essentially the poster child for hadrosaurs and the Lambeosaurinae. Their distinct appearance has often been portrayed across a variety of media. Documentaries like 2009's Clash of the Dinosaurs have featured Parasaurolophus, as well as being a prominent character in 2009's Dinosaur King and being featured in 2009's Dinosaur Train. Movies have also portrayed Parasaurolophus, like 1993's We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, as the character Dweeb, 1997's The Lost World Jurassic Park, 2022's Jurassic World Dominion, and throughout various scenes across the Land Before Time series. Video games have been especially generous to Parasaurolophus, being featured in almost all Jurassic Park video games, including more recent additions like Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2 and 2018's Jurassic World Alive, 2015's The Isle, 2020's Path of Titans, and 2022's Prehistoric Kingdom. Parasaurolophus can often be mocked as defenseless prey or a bizarre weirdo among dinosaurs, but that does not give Parasaurolophus enough credit. While it may appear bizarre, these adaptations make it a marvel in evolution and adaptation. Its sheer size and unique beauty make it truly worth all of the fuss. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment below what you think of Parasaurolophus, and if you have heard of this dinosaur before the video. We'll be going back down to one episode next week, looking at the possibly even more bizarre dinosaur, Suchomimus. Thank you for your support, and see you in the next video.